All right, our next big section is learning to build scenarios. And so now that you've started to get a piecemeal of techniques, so maybe you've learned to pass, you've learned how to submit from mount, submit from side control, submit from back, things like that, trying to figure out 3 or 4 different techniques to tie together, put into scenarios where you can start working those as one big chain rather than each individual technique. So maybe you're doing a guard pass, or excuse me, a takedown, and then a guard pass, and then once you get into side, maybe you're transitioning into the back, and then once you're on the back, you're doing a submission, things like that. So my big suggestion is to do a mind map, but I really like writing down, 4 or 5 of those, and then trying to implement those into the game plan. And then once you get a decent idea of what you're able to pull off with those, I think it really gives you that game, like, #1 game plan for you to be able to do. And so rather than having to think, okay, do guard pass, now what am I going to do from side? You just have one clear path that you're going to follow at all times, and then you just keep doing that going forward. And so, you can have 3 or 4 different scenarios, but for the most part, like I said, they're all the same, or they're all easy to follow, if that makes sense. So really try to take that, write them down, and just go piece by piece by piece. Usually a takedown, a pass, a good position, maybe a transfer or a transition, and then a submission. So those are just a few to think of. If you want to go the opposite way, you can as well, maybe doing an escape out of a bad position, transitioning, and then go into a submission. But it should be at least a combo of 3 or 4 for you to do. Don't get too long. Like I said, really, in my opinion, 3 to 4 would be your minimum and your maximum that you would want to do. Any more than that, and it's going to be very hard to do. Any less than that, and you're still having to kind of chunk things together. So look at some of those. If you have a hard time with those, either ask your instructor, ask a higher student, or by all means just put them online. I'm sure that you can type in armbar combos or whatever, and that'll kind of give you scenarios that you can work off of. And then just try those after practice, and then also during live rolling sessions, try to work those as one big chain rather than each individual technique.